Hello and welcome to Plot Twisters.
This is a podcast where we take movies and twist the plot to see if we can make them better. And if not, more transactional.
At the moment, we're talking about teen movies from the 80s.
On this episode, Can't Buy Me Love from 1987.
I'm Emma. Ooh, what a severe suede.
I'm Anders. Read my lips. Chocolate milkshake extra thick.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but like if you go too thick, you know that thing where it's so thick you can't suck it up through the straw, you know?
Like a McDonald's milkshake.
Yeah.
They are real thick.
Give me a spoon. This straw is sarcasm. Is what it is, you know? Thanks. Is this a joke? Can't even suck it.
Well, McDonald's milkshakes are incredible though.
So
I
good.
don't want to waste any time on preamble.
Cut to
Today.
it. Cut the crap.
The crap. Let's get to it.
Okay, let's do it.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Can't buy me love, love. Everybody showed you so. Can't buy me love. No, 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 no. I'll buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright.
In this film, we meet Ronald Miller,
just can't buy
played by Patrick Dempsey.
I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love.
He's a geek.
Sorry, I'll be
He's a
quiet now.
geek.
I'll be quiet now. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet now. Yeah, Ronald Miller's a geek.
He's a geek. He mows lawns so that he can save money to buy his telescope. One of the lawns that he mows is the lawn of Cindy Mancini, played by Amanda Peterson, who's a cool girl, head cheerleader. She goes to a party. She's wearing her mum's incredible suede outfit.
Oh my god! Right,
White
with the tassels
suede
and
outfit.
everything. Jeez Louise.
It's like a... Let me just describe this outfit to you. It's like a white suede bralette, like a quite low cut bralette, a high waisted pencil skirt, slightly above the knee pencil skirt, and then a loose fringe cropped jacket,
Yeah,
like a 3-piece all matching.
it's awesome.
It's unbelievable. She goes to the party. She spills red wine all over it. Actually, another boy throws red wine on her. She panics because she didn't ask her mum's permission to borrow the suit. She goes to the mall, tries to return it. She doesn't have the money to buy another one.
Yeah.
But guess who does have the money? It's Ronald Miller.
Yeah.
He had the money. He was saving up to buy his fancy telescope because he loves space, because he's a geek.
Yep.
He sees Cindy and her strife, and he's always had a soft spot for her. So he goes and offers her the money and says, look, I'll give you the cash to buy another suit to replace your mum's suit if you pretend to go out with me for a month. And she does. And they go out for a month, during the course of which Ronald Miller goes from school to cool.
Yeah.
He gains loads of social status. She gives him a bit of a makeover. He stops wearing his beret and starts smushing his hair up. He becomes friends with the jocks. Loads of girls want to date him. And eventually, at the end of the month, he kind of just casts Cindy to one side, starts dating loads of other girls, gets kind of cocky, until it all starts to fall apart. Cindy had a kind of mysterious sort of boyfriend.
Right.
This guy, I think his name was Bobby.
The guy with the hair, right? Like long
the guy with the
hair.
weird hair. He's in college.
That makes sense.
So he's kind of gone away, and we don't really know what's going on with him. She's like talking about how he hasn't called, but everybody knows that they were dating. But it kind of seems like she's been ditched until he turns up at a house party and discovers that Ronald was dating Cindy. So then he confronts Cindy. They have a big tiff about it, during which Cindy drunkenly reveals that she, in fact, was bought by Ronald Miller, and that he paid her to go out with him. This causes everything to unravel. He loses all his friends. He loses his status. He even loses his original nerd friends, a group of guys who are all super geeky along with him, who've been his friends for a long time. He's lost everything. But then we have this lovely scene where one of the jocks is picking on his friend.
Such a good. Sorry.
What's
really
the friend
good.
called? Kenneth. So Kenneth was his
It's really
bestie,
really
and
good.
him and Kenneth hung out loads at the start of the film and known each other for a long time. But then during the film, Kenneth sees Ronnie become cool, and this kind of escalates to the point where on Halloween, Ronnie and a bunch of other guys go and egg his house, and Ronald throws some dog poop at his door. And Kenneth realizes that it's Ronald. He's very upset. He stops his dad from catching Ronald, which is nice, but he's clearly really heartbroken. There's a confrontation after Ronald loses his cool where he goes and tries to make things up, but Kenneth's not having it. And then Kenneth sees Ronald's kind of switch throughout the social hierarchy, and he tries to go and he tries to befriend one of the cheerleaders. He's sitting with her at a table at lunch, and then one of the jocks comes over and is like, "What are you doing?" and threatens to beat him up. And Ronald steps in and says, "Look, why can't we all just be ourselves? What is this all about? Why he's just being nice? He's not trying to do anything. He's just being himself. Yes, I tried to buy my way into being cool, but Kenneth is just being a cool dude." And then this initiates like a switch where Ronald goes back to mowing. Oh my god, why can't I say that? Mowing lawns.
Lowing lawns.
And
lowing lawns.
Cindy, who has gone through this experience of being ditched by Bobby, kind of we see her kind of fall for Ronald. There's a lovely scene in an aeroplane graveyard where it's very clear that they have lots of chemistry. Yeah. But then she feels like he ditches her once this contract ends. So they have all this kind of unresolved thing going on, and everybody's very upset, and she won't take his calls, and he starts mowing her lawn at 6 a.m. And then eventually she is driving away with her friends, but the car stops. She gets out and she runs after him, and then they drive away on a lawnmower together.
It's so good. That's great. It's great. This movie is a lot of things. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to lead right in and say it. This movie's like peak 80s. It's peak teen movies. It's something that has been parodied in a lot of places. I've seen this parodied so many times in other medium, in a lot of cartoons and stuff, and in other movies. And it was really great because it ended nicely and like in a lovely way, And I really liked it.
Yeah.
Just got to say, I'm going to say it right now. I like this movie. I enjoyed it. I don't know if you ever watched Grey's Anatomy before, but this movie stars McDreamy himself, Patrick Dempsey.
Mm-hmm.
That was so fun to see. It was very surprising.
Yeah. It was hard for me to connect young Patrick Dempsey with older Patrick Dempsey.
They're two different people. Just consider
like
them as two different people. Right? It's like
I know him from the film Enchanted.
Oh.
I know him.
Oh. I don't even know that. I only know. Here's what I know about Patrick Dempsey.
You don't know Enchanted?
Can't Buy Me Love. Grey's Anatomy. Enchanted. What's Enchanted?
How does she know that you love her? How does she know that you really, really, truly love her? It's
same question.
Disney
Same
film.
question. What's Enchanted?
It's the Disney film with Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey, where it starts off as a cartoon, and then the Disney princess falls through a magic portal into the real world, and then it becomes live action.
Wait, for real? That's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Wait,
it's really good.
Wait, what? Wait, hang on. Starts as cartoon and then is real?
It starts as hand-drawn animation, like a classic Disney film. Oh. And then when the evil villain turns up, she curses the main princess, and she falls through this portal, and she comes out in a New York manhole, and she's in the middle of New York, and it's Amy Adams.
What?
And then she meets Patrick Dempsey, thinks he's a prince, and she's wandering around, like, there's this great scene where she goes to his flat and she makes a dress out of his curtains, and then all of these pigeons and rats turn up. She's, like, singing out of the window.
Right, like Cinderella.
And,
what?
And then they kind of it goes back to, like, hand-drawn animation for a bit. I can't believe you've never heard of it. And there's a sequel coming out.
Enchanted.
Enchanted 2 is coming out.
It's called Disenchanted.
Yes.
Oh, That's the opposite of the regular.
I think it was like 2007 or something,
Nailed it,
maybe.
2007. I'm looking.
Oh my god, I'm so good.
I'm
at
sorry,
movie
everybody.
times.
I'm looking up. I will admit, I'm looking at my phone, okay, and I'm not looking at TikTok or whatever. This is research for the podcast. I'm looking at IMDb on my phone. Hang on, I'm really super with you. A young maiden is in the land called Andalusia, who's prepared to be wed and is sent away to New York City by an evil queen, where she falls in love with a lawyer, and that lawyer is Patrick Dempsey.
Did you not believe me? You had to verify that this was wrong.
No. I believe everything you say. Yes, but also
It's really
I was just curious.
good.
I wanted to see if
I don't know if it would qualify for our 2000 seasons, so maybe you'll just need to watch it because I love it. I think it's really, really good film.
Is it teen-ish?
Not really. Like they're kind of grown ups.
Whoa.
But
Susan Sarandon is in this
Susan
movie.
Sarandon plays the evil villain. Yeah.
James Marsden, Patrick Dempsey, Timothy Spall.
Yes.
AKA,
So James, yes, James Marsden is the Disney prince. So he is also starts in the hand-drawn animation, and then he comes out of the portal as well.
Dude, Idina Menzel, right?
Yeah.
Who's from
Frozen.
Yeah.
Elsa.
And also Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Holy guacamole!
It's really good.
I've never even heard of this movie.
I can't believe you've never heard.
I'm
That's
a human
crazy
being.
to
I
me.
can only hear of so many things. My ears are only so big. My brain is only so wide. My heart is only so deep.
Well, now we know. Whenever
We know now.
every time you've got mad at me for not knowing about a 90s movie,
I don't get mad. I'm just
it's because I know about all these noughties movies that you don't know about.
Shoot, man. Yeah, it was a blind
It's
spot.
just a different
I
time.
wasn't watching movies. I wasn't watching kids' movies in 2007.
Exactly.
I was like
Being
a grown up.
crazy, yeah.
I was thinking about my taxes and trying to eat more fiber or whatever. I don't know.
Now you've given up all of that nonsense and you're back to caring about movies again.
Exactly. It's all protein and nothing. And I don't care about Jack.
Well, that's where I know Patrick Dempsey from. So that film.
I only know him from Grey's Anatomy.
I guess 2007 was a really peak year for me because I think I would have been 15 in 2007. So
yeah, a lot of smoky eyeliner, a lot of angst, a lot of feelings of separation from the
different
norm.
colored shoelaces,
totally
black skinny jeans,
filling a journal,
those very thin scarves, thin stripy scarves, obsession with The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Totally. This is Halloween journal. One journal lasted a week, maybe 2 tops.
Yeah.
You were big into puppetry at the time, of course, as we all know, right?
Not yet. That came
you
later.
didn't even know yet. Yeah.
I wasn't even ready for that. No, I wasn't. I was still peak Twilight. I think Twilight was 2008, so that was about to drop. That was about to hit me hard.
Yeah, it really was. I was 24 and getting married, but it's a different time. We're all different.
This is a different time.
This is a different time. Let's talk about this movie.
Anyway, let's talk more about this movie. Can't
about
be loved. Did I finish the summary? I think I finished it. Yeah, you did. Yeah, we were talking about you liked it. Yeah.
What did you think?
So, first of all, this movie had some language in it, problematic language, which is no good, and Americans need to stop using that word, the S word specifically. It seems to be somewhat accepted in America, and it's very bad in the UK. Very, very bad in the UK. So I didn't like that.
Wait, the S? Which one?
It's an ableist word that is used to mean like freak out in America.
Does it end in a Z?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't use that word.
So Americans, please don't use that word. It's no good.
Yeah, this movie maybe also had the R word in it too.
Yeah, it also had that word.
Yeah.
So that's no good.
It was the 80s. It was a different time.
It was a different time. I will also say that I think that there were pretty kind of cliche elements of this film. We know, obviously, this is just another version of
well, I mean, this is another movie this is another version of all the movies, right?
So in the second episode of this podcast, which kind of feels like is spiritually the first episode, we talked about She's All That, which is based on the story Pygmalion.
This is Pygmalion, right?
And this is another version of that.
This is what this is. This is what this is.
This is what a bit cliche.
Yeah, it's true.
What else?
God, I remember. I miss She's All That.
I know, such a long time ago. In this film, shooting this film, Amanda Peterson was 15 and Patrick Dempsey was 20. Isn't it weird?
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean,
really?
Yeah.
20? He was 20?
He was 20 and she was 15.
He looked 15.
I don't know. I think he definitely looks older than her.
Well, yeah, because you look closely and you can see the bags under his eyes, and he was doing his taxes at the time.
So those are some things that I thought about this movie. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all those little things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put them in a little box, and I'm just going to put this box down here on the floor.
Hey, almost every movie, it's fine. So every movie from the 80s has that little box of things.
Well, some of them have pretty big boxes, but just specifically for this film, I'm putting that box on the floor, and I'm not going to look at it. And I'm just going to say, I fucking love this movie
so good.
much.
It's so good.
Me so happy. I want to cry. I loved it so much.
All right. Really important. Was this your first viewing of this movie?
This is the first time I ever saw it. I wish I'd seen it as a teenager, although I think I probably would have destroyed me. Killed me.
Tell me, as someone I work with would say, tell me everything immediately. What did you like?
Can I invite 15-year-old Emma into the room, please? Can she come in?
Yeah.
She's got her fringe over her face, and she's like hunched over, and she's a bit like a bit shyer than me.
What would she say in entering the room? Nothing. Hey, Emma, come on over to the microphone. Put your face right up to that mic. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, my name's Emma, and I'm here to talk about this movie, Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome.
Basically, like, none of you really get where I'm at right now with this.
Totally, young person. Totally.
I just need to, let me just update my Tumblr real quick.
Nice.
And reblog some young Patrick Dempsey posts. Because I love it, and you guys don't get you don't get it. You don't understand me. I love it so much. I'm just so Cindy Mancini right now, and you know what I mean? I'm just
totally.
Cindy Mancini right now.
You had a lot of emotions when you were young, huh?
Yeah.
So did I.
I have a lot of emotions.
So do you now, obviously. Yeah. So, what'd you love about this movie, girl?
It's just, so nice to see that, there's a guy who... Even though, here's the thing, right? Even though you're kind of looking at this guy and you're thinking, okay, he's paying money to date this cheerleader. He's probably going to be a bad guy, but he's actually not. He's really sweet.
He's a nice guy.
He reads her poetry, and I wish someone would read my poetry, you know? I wish some guy would come and read my poetry and tell me that I'm really talented and that I'm going to go a long way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We all want that. We all want that. I want some guy to read my poetry and tell me I'm going somewhere. I feel you, 15-year-old Emma, and also present-day Emma.
It's just, I don't know. I genuinely don't even know what it is. I have nothing. I have no critical thinking. I just loved it. I just thought it was so... I think Patrick Dempsey is just so watchable in this film. I mean, something about him.
He's charismatic.
Like I said, he's so charismatic. I know him from Enchanted, which he's very good in. I have seen a bit of Grey's Anatomy, so I kind of know him that.
Yeah.
But in this film, he is so vivid and energetic, and there's a tiny little moment when they're in this plane graveyard and they're talking about something it's quite serious and tense, and then he goes, "Follow me, wee," and then does a little airplane sound. And he's very physical, so there's a moment where he just walks over a table, because he's just going that way, and he just steps over the table. And he's jumping around a lot. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of physicality, and also with his great hair, he's got this massive hair. I think
great hair.
It's just
such good hair.
Yeah, amazing, incredible, like absolutely just give his hair an Oscar. But I think it's very refreshing to see the character of the dorky guy, but also the love interest guy being so free in his movement, because what I think the generation, teenage Emma grew up with love interest dudes who were all very rigid and very, I can't tell you how I feel, and I'm going to be very manly and quiet and brooding, and that kind of thing. And Ronald Miller just isn't that at all. He's very outspoken. He speaks from the heart. He's very passionate, and it's just, it's really lovely to see, I think.
Here's the thing, right? So like we've talked about this movie before, but we've not talked about this movie. You said it. We talked about She's All That. We've talked about how it's Pygmalion. And it's a billion of the movies, and it's all the same thing. I mean, it comes in 10 things. It comes to all this. You see the story a lot. But it's different this time. Because, like, we meet Ronald Miller, who's like a cool guy, but he's not considered cool, but he is a cool guy. He then says to this popular girl, hey, I'll buy you that suede dress, and you can pretend I'm your boyfriend, and that will make me cool. So he changes from being a cool nerd to a cool guy, but like the whole time he's cool. And then at the end, when you think it's gonna go bad and be sexist and bad, he goes to the cool girl. Yep, I thought this is what I wanted, but actually, all I really wanted was just to hang out with you.
Yeah, he owns up to his mistake.
Yeah.
He reflects on himself, and he realizes what he's done.
He subverts
and
the narrative.
Nothing
completely.
sexier.
It's so awesome. And that whole scene, you already talked about that whole scene in the cafeteria when he's like, hey guys, hey friends, hey high school people, can we all just be cool for like a second? Can we all just be friends? Hey Jock, remember when we were all in the 6th grade and we were all friends together, and you skinned your knee and you were all sad, and you cried, and we took you to the hospital. We're just people. Hey everybody, we're just people.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
And I think if you put that, it's difficult, but if I try and put that within the context of the time, like, I imagine that probably would have been quite refreshing for the time. I don't know.
It wouldn't have happened.
Because it's quite cliche now to be like, oh my God, guys, we're just people, get over it. But
we've watched so many movies from the 80s and 90s. This has never happened, right? Lainey Boggs didn't stand up in the cafeteria and say, we're all cool. The thing is, teen movies have taught us this. Jocks are cool, but they're jerks. Nerds are cool, but they're nerds. And sometimes there's some sort of like a variant where they're not a nerd and they're not a jock, and we don't know what table they sit at in the cafeteria. But like jocks are bad, nerds are cool, but they're nerds. All of a sudden, everybody's fine and we can all be friends. Nobody's ever said that before.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I don't think that this film is trying to pretend that everything is just going to be fine and everyone's going to be friends at the end of it as well, which I like, because, and I feel almost a bit, I don't know what, I'm just internally shaming myself for feeling this connection.
Feel the way you feel.
When we eventually get around to watching the seminal film from teenage Emma's experience, High School Musical.
Oh no.
That film does something similar, but it's all, everything's fine now and we're all happy and we all accept each other. And that's different because it's kind of, it's a Disney film. It's meant to be like that. But with this film, they didn't, I don't think I felt like, it's all fine, everything's forgiven. The moment where Cindy's driving off with her friends, I think it feels clear that they're still very suspicious of Ronald, and probably this kind of weird class system is going to continue.
Right.
But at least they're going to be a bit nicer to each other. That's how I felt anyway, which felt more authentic.
I get that. It's surprising. This movie was surprising. It went in directions that were both cliched, and then it would just pivot in a way that was unexpected.
I think what was most, I think that's a good choice of word. what was most surprising to me was how incredibly familiar this story was, but how I was still so engaged and I was so into it and loving it.
Totally.
And like when she goes and gets on the lawnmower, I was like,
yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just great. Seth Green was great.
Yeah, Seth Green. Seth Green is in this movie as the little brother.
Yeah, and it was quite funny because I didn't immediately clock that it was him. But then as soon as the camera lingers on him for more than like
you can tell
10 seconds, you're like, oh my God, it's the most Seth Green that Seth Green has ever Seth Greened.
And like we keep seeing him pop up in weird places. We saw him in this movie. We saw him in that movie that you refer to as The Boy with the Radio, right?
Yeah.
And we saw him in
Can't Hardly Wait as well, isn't he?
Hardly
Wait. Yeah.
It's great.
He was really good. I liked the cheerleader friends. What are they called? Like Barbara and something Patty. They were great. I thought they were very. In fact, yeah, a lot of the background characters in this were really good as well. That is often something that can let a teen movie down, is that the side characters can be kind of weak. But
did you notice that one of the football jocks, the baseball jocks, one of the jocks is one of the guys from the movie with all the sharp bugs?
Oh,
he's one of the
sharp bug people.
He's one of the guys who goes to war against the
Starship Troopers.
From Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you also know that Ross's cousin in Friends is from Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
The girl.
The very, very, very attractive cousin that everyone is attracted to. Yeah.
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 I just realised that recently. So, yeah, no, the background character is good. The friendships are really strong. The relationship between Ronald and Kenneth is really strong. Cindy and Ronald had so much chemistry. I think Cindy, for me, was an interesting one. I think it was interesting that learning that the actress is 15. I don't think you should do that have one is 15 and one's 20. It's weird. But she did a really good job. And there was a lot of chemistry between them. She definitely feels like the head cheerleader type. I think that there was more depth to the character that maybe could have been explored a little bit more. Like, she writes poetry. She has this weird thing with Bobby going on, where she's kind of saying that they're dating and they're not. She talks a lot about how popularity feels like a burden. I think there was a bit more to go into there. And I wonder if perhaps, I don't know, if I might have been interested to see another actor play the character and see whether or not maybe a slightly older actor could have given it a bit more of that.
Yeah, maybe.
A bit more of that kind of grit to that character, like the darker side. But she was great, and they were lovely together. I'm really just like nitpicking here.
What was refreshing about this movie is it was so earnest and like well portrayed by everybody. Like, we've watched a lot of movies about teenagers, and they come in all shapes and sizes, right? And this one just had, I don't know, I'm not going to call it authenticity, because like it was a ridiculous story, right? Like, it was a ridiculous story. It was totally ridiculous. Instead of spending all this money on a telescope, I'm going to spend it on a suede jumpsuit so that you and I can pretend to be dating. But also, dude, like, also, all right, man, like, also, I'm reminded by, is it weird if on a podcast you talk about another podcast?
No, people do that that's what podcasters do, that all the time.
There's this episode of This American Life where there's this girl who, like, and it's a great episode, by the way, shout out to Ira Glass, podcasts, where like she was a nerdy kid, and then she was like 16 and they moved from one city to another city, and when they moved she was like, shoot, I'm gonna be popular now. And the way she did it was she read a bunch of teen magazines and like talked like the people in the magazines talked and wore clothes like the people in the magazines wore. And then within a year, she was super popular. But then on the inside, she still felt like a nerd. And then one day she said to people, I'm actually a nerd and I'm not cool, you know? But everything was fine, I guess, because she graduated high school and it's just a moment in time. This movie seems ridiculous, but also in real life, it happens all the time. You just have to wear the right clothes and say the right things and you can be popular. But ultimately, you should hang out with the people that you want to hang out with. And I like how this movie was both ridiculous but also completely plausible. That's my whole thing.
I mean, I can kind of relate. So I'm trying to phrase this without sounding like big-headed, but I know that that's a bad instinct. You should just,
nobody thinks you have a big head. We're all fine. We're all friends.
I definitely have a nerd complex because what happened, I don't know, I guess like I transferred schools at kind of a crucial point and then felt very out of place. And then I was never really, I don't think I was ever really a nerd. I wasn't cool. And I was always very passionate. I've always been someone who's incredibly passionate about things. And I really wear my heart on my sleeve with my passions. I'm like, these are the things I love. Everybody must know about them. And
theater, puppets,
I guess that's
video games and things like that.
See, what's fun is that I always try and deny the puppet thing, but now we've been to an establishment together where they had puppetry posters and I got really excited about it. And I was like, I need to not be excited about the puppets because you're going to rib me in the podcast about loving puppets.
I'm just yes-anding you and
yeah. But so I think that's maybe not cool for a kid to be like that, to be like, I'm obsessed with stuff. So I definitely have a nerd complex, but then I've had points later in my life where I found myself not seen that way so much by people around me.
Right.
And found it. I don't think I've ever been someone who's like incredibly cool, but I have had moments where I've realized that like, oh, people think I'm kind of cool and I don't feel that way at all. And it's very weird, you know?
Yeah.
It's very hard to shake that feeling.
Yeah, I understand it.
Stays with you.
Stuff.
Bringing it back to the movie.
Can't Buy Me Love, the movie. Yeah, fine.
Think another teeny tiny thing is I would have liked to have seen a bit more setup as to why Cindy took the deal. You know, she takes the money off Ronald.
Yeah, because she wanted to replace
she needs
the clothes.
it.
She needs it.
But then sometimes with the deal, it's like, oh, I'll give you half now and then half when the job's done. Like, there's no reason for her to stick to it. She could quite easily just take the money and run. Like, it's not like...
Yeah,
she's not like Ronald's gonna tell her mum or whatever. Like she sticks to it. I think I know the reason for that, which is potentially that she didn't think it was such a bad thing to have to pretend to go out with this guy. Actually, I think they could have maybe seeded that a little bit better, and just kind of given a hint as to why that is. But that's a really tiny thing, and I think that. I think that Patrick Dempsey is such a good casting choice because he plays both. He's very believable as a geek, but he's also very believable as a cool guy, but he's also very believable as just a nice guy who's being overlooked.
How is that possible? So he's not a nerd, but he's not a jock. He's everything.
Yeah, listeners, if you haven't watched the movie, please watch it.
Go watch it.
The opening scene is so good, right? You get the whatever they're called, what's the word when you have the movie company?
The Beatles? Are you talking about the Beatles?
you get the little like flashcards for the movie. I can't remember what the word is. And then you get the Beatles kick in and you get the title, and then it opens on Patrick Dempsey wearing this like explorer hat driving a lawnmower. And it's so iconic and cool because it just completely introduces this character brilliantly, which is this guy who is just kind of rolling through it. He doesn't really care, and he's very like good-natured and kind of doing his best. And so I think that you just really root for him. Like, I was rooting for him.
Totally.
I hate men, okay? I hate all men, right? And it's very hard. We know this. I'm an angry feminist. It's very hard to get me to root for a male character. Yep. Yes, he's very attractive, so that helps. But I think the fact that I was rooting for him constantly, and even when he makes these mistakes, it's clear that they are silly mistakes and he's just misguided. Whereas very often with this sort of storyline where it's a guy who ends up treating a girl badly, you're kind of like, yeah, but you are still kind of being a douchebag.
Yeah. He was never once a douchebag in this movie.
Like, because even the bit where they have a fake fight to break up, and even at that stage he says some stuff which is over the line. Like he mentions Bobby, and he's kind of like, oh well, you're wasting all my money and stuff like this, and Cindy's clearly hurt by it, but it's very clear, I think, that he's just being an idiot. He's not being malicious at all. He's just unaware, and he's not picked up on her signals. And oh my god, the bit where they're in the car, and he says, "So how are we going to do this?" And she says something like, "Oh well, let's not plan it. Let's just let it happen naturally." And she's talking about kissing, but then he doesn't realize that he's like, "No, how are we going to do our breakup?" And it's just like,
because she falls in love with him. That's the whole thing. She falls for him, and he's not planning it because he just wants to look cool because that's the deal. But actually, he falls with her for her as well. But he's not able to say it because he doesn't know what to do. And it's great. It's great. It's great.
Life is so hard.
Dude,
and there are so many sad things and so many difficult things.
Yep.
And it's so nice to just spend an hour and a half in a nice world in a high school in the 80s.
A lawnmower boy falls in love with a popular girl, but actually learn a lot about himself and about boundaries and about relationships. And he never pushes it. I mean, he does get frisky with some of the other girls. It should be said, he does have some special times in a car.
He does. I don't think that. I mean, it's all very consensual.
Very consensual.
He's not taking advantage of anyone, and he also at this point, I think, hasn't had an indication that he hasn't yet realized the thing with Cindy was very real. Totally. I think I didn't.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was all great. It's all great. It's great. This movie is great.
I just want to stick up for him.
I love it. It's so good. And also,
what's wrong with me?
We didn't even talk about it, but like every piece of clothing that is worn in this movie is
oh my god, it's
basically
incredible,
iconic.
Oh my god!
Like, and I would just say everything that Patrick Dempsey wears in this movie,
I would wear it.
It's great.
It's also current.
Great.
The outfit he wears when he goes to the airplane graveyard,
it's great.
It's phenomenal. He's got like straight leg jeans turned up with the cuffs, boots, big like a loose fitting kind of like heavy print sort of rust colored shirt, and then like a loose denim jacket, and his hair, and oh my god, like Wayfarers. It's so good. So good.
At one point he's wearing these sort of like baggy, sort of like, I don't know, sort of like army inspired sort of fatigue trousers. They're baggy. They got a bunch of pockets. It's high waisted, and he has a print heavy button up shirt tucked in. With the sleeves rolled up really high. It's not like, ooh, the 80s, it's crazy colors. They're mostly beiges, but something about it is so awesome. It's unbuttoned quite a bit. His hair is all tousled back, and like, it's awesome.
Cindy wears a two-piece lemon yellow knitted kind of suit, and like it's like a pencil skirt jumper combo.
Yeah,
which I was with like big prints on it, which I was dying for.
Yeah,
and then she also wears the suede thing, but also like a 3-piece like baby pink.
Dude, I know.
Ensemble.
I remember that. It's so good.
Oh my god!
And like here we are. It's 1987.
The costume designer of this film is speaking my language.
And I know fashion is cyclical and whatever, and maybe that's why. But like some of the outfits people are wearing in this movie, most of the outfits from this movie from 1987, you could wear right now and look amazing.
Yeah.
Also the hair. Like, especially, wow, for some.
The hair was less good for me. Patrick Dempsey, 100 out of 10. Cindy Mancini had like a very severe side part, which was no good. Her boyfriend Bobby had like
bad long hair.
Ooh, it was almost like an angular. He had like it was like swept at the sides, and then flat at the top and flat at the
Yeah,
back,
so
and it was terrible.
What about the one girl?
Clothes good, hair bad.
What about the one girl who hung out with Patrick Dempsey in the back seat of his car, and she had very like sort of like wavy sort of dark hair and had a lot of like bronzed like eyeliner, thing going on. That was fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of face glitter in this film as well.
There was a lot of face glitter.
I mean, the 80s makeup is very interesting because they hadn't quite finessed the formulas yet to get it to look like it's natural. So it's very apparent that people are wearing makeup, but there's lots of like bold block colors, like a block color eyeshadow and stuff. But there was a scene, it's right at the start, when I think they're in Cindy's bedroom, which also was incredible.
Oh my God, it was great. She had a TV in the fireplace, and they're all
and like a big red phone, and they had these three girls, and I was looking at their faces and thinking like, this is, it's an interesting, because makeup didn't look as good as it does now, but there's something kind of nice about that. Like they look really they look natural. You can see their real faces. Yeah. Because makeup now is about, I think it kind of is both enhancing natural beauty, but sometimes disguising it as well. So yeah, that was just my little train of thought about the makeup. Yeah, but the overall aesthetic of this film is very pleasing, very nice.
It was great.
It was just nice.
You know what? We need to twist this thing.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a thing, and then let's do the thing. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, I think.
I think I know what you mean. I think.
But do you think that you know that what I think is what you're thinking? I
know what you know. I know you know. But you don't know that I know you know what I know you know. You know?
Messers become the messies.
Couldn't tell if I wanted to. Hi, everybody. What we'd love you to do, if it's cool, right, if you got the time, is like our podcast on the platform you're listening to it on. Leave a comment, leave some stars, and maybe, if you got the time, share it with somebody that you think might also like our podcast, because word of mouth is better than any type of advertising, I think, even though I don't know anything about advertising. Tell a friend, tell your grandma, tell a stranger. Plot Twisters Pod. See ya! Wouldn't want to be ya.
I don't think I can do it.
What do you mean you don't think you can do it? You can do anything you put your mind to.
I had such a love. Thank you. You sound like Ronald Miller when he empowers Cindy and says that she's a hard worker because she's good at cheerleading.
Yes. Yes.
I had such a nice time watching this film, and it made me feel really happy and good.
Yeah.
And I don't. I feel bad because there are so many people who've listened to this podcast and felt this way about a movie and then have listened to like 40 minutes of me telling them how terrible it is, and I'm really sorry, and I'm never doing it again because I love this movie and it's very special, and I'm just very emotional right now.
Hey man, it's cool, right? Emotions are part of being the human experience is emotions. Let me ask you this. What if we don't twist this movie at all? What if instead we talk about potential merchandise opportunities that the film producers of Can't Buy Me Love never considered? I.e., what would be the best t-shirt for the movie Can't Buy Me Love?
It would be the final shot of them driving off into the sunset, even though it's 11 a.m. because they specifically say it's 11 a.m. and then they drive off and it's the sunset.
Yeah, I love that.
I thought you were just about to say, what if we twist a completely different movie and we just pick a totally different film and just twist that instead? Like, let's twist The Jungle Book.
Oh my God. All right.
Titanic or something.
No.
And I don't know if we should do that. That's naughty. I don't think
you can do one of two things. You can design a bespoke t-shirt to sell on the film Can't Buy Me Love, or we can twist The Jungle Book. I have ideas about The Jungle Book, by the way. Did anybody ask for a second, where did this man cub come from, and should we take it back to the man village now? And also, Shere Khan, he's a snake. No, wait. Which one's the snake?
No, Snake Car is the snake.
Shere
Khan's the tiger.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Climb into a tree.
Trust in
trust in me. Guess what tigers can't do? Climb up trees, son. Climb to the top of a tree.
Close your eyes.
Get a big rock, climb to the top of a tree, drop the rock on the tiger, then you don't have a problem anymore.
I mean, I'm willing to yes and I was genuinely trying to think of other ways that you could improve the Jungle Book, but I haven't seen it in a very long time. My memory is kind of ropey. I remember all the characters because the characters are the names of scout leaders in the Scouts.
Yes, I do.
When I was in the Scouts.
I want to walk like you, talk like you, give me fire, right? That's the whole thing. Monkey wants fire. Man cub needs to leave the
opposable
jungle.
thumbs is what he should really be after. Look, we can't. This is naughty. This isn't allowed. We're not allowed. Well, this is bad.
It's bad.
This is.
You should feel bad.
We've strayed so far from the path before, but we've never strayed as far as to actually just do a different movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's try. I think part of the problem with this is because obviously the story of Pygmalion has been done
to death.
Literally, it's been done. Let's list some of them. My Fair Lady. She's all that. He's all that.
Money.
What are some of the other ones?
Love Don't Cost a Thing.
Love Don't Cost a Thing. There's so many. It's the Make Everything. I was gonna say, if you now were gonna get a makeover, if like some people came into your life and said we're gonna make you over,
me,
what would you get made over into?
Wait, for how long?
Like the second half of a movie.
Like like it might be fun to that thing where they are like, here's somebody who's got a lot of tattoos, we're gonna cover them all up and you can see what they look like for the first time. I want the opposite of that, i.e. what would I look like if I was the guy who had tattoos
covered in tattoos
100% of my body?
Wow,
for
that's
a day
fun. Through the magic of improvisation and play and us just talking through our lives, you've given me an idea for how we could twist this movie.
What, it's like the same movie but Patrick Dempsey has a lot of tattoos?
Kind of. What if, has anyone done this, first of all, but what if it was the classic kind of makeover movie, but they were being made over into like goths and emo kids?
Totally.
So like when they've done this, or totally they should do
it's
this?
a good idea. They've not done this.
Cool. So we were just talking about 15-year-old Emma, right?
Yeah.
What was super big when I was 15 was emo.
Oh yeah.
And like My Chemical Romance, Tokyo Hotel, Bullet for My Valentine, all those bands, and like I said, Nightmare Before Christmas was very in.
Yeah.
Wearing loads of eyeliner, having lots of black, neon green and pink, being kind of edgy.
Yeah.
Having a big sweeping fringe,
cover your eyeballs,
Like, I basically only saw out of one eye for most of my teen years.
So what, we're going to do a movie where somebody is an emo kid?
Well, you could make a teen film, and like I said, I'm sure someone's done this, but you could make a teen film which is, it's a cool kid who gets made over into an indie kid, and then you could have loads of really cool indie music in there as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is growing. And
it could just be, I don't know what that would add that's new, but I just think it would be interesting. And maybe there could be an element which I think a big part of that culture is, well, like I said, when I was a teenager and also an adult, I have lots of like passions that I'm very vocal about. And I think that often aligns with like emo culture, indie culture, is like being really into stuff.
I've got it. Sorry, I've got it.
You've got it. Oh, great. Cool. I'm so glad.
All of these movies, the Pygmalions, the She's All That, the Can't Buy Me Love, the Money Don't Cost a Thing. It's always somebody from a outskirts changing into the mainstream, the cool, the like norm, the like whatever, right? And you're talking about the emo vibe. What if it's they never explore a cool kid who changes into the emo kid because they like a girl or whatever, right? What I'm saying is, what if you reverse Pygmalion? I.e.,
Jock becomes a geek.
Jock becomes a geek. Has that been done?
Is someone done that?
I
feel like someone's done that.
But they do it because they love a geek. And they feel like they can't say, I like lacrosse, but also I like you. So they have to pretend that they like My Chemical Romance and I like you. But at the end, they're like, actually, I just like you. Also, have you ever played lacrosse before? You know what I mean?
Me?
No, like the goth kid from this movie that I'm inventing. But also,
right.
You. And then the kid and the girl goes, I've never played lacrosse before, but I love My Chemical Romance. And the guy goes, we can work on that. And then they do a bunch of like throwing the ball into the net with the stick. And then eventually she doesn't like My Chemical Romance anymore or whatever. Is that a thing?
Well,
it's a reverse Pygmalion that turns into a regular Pygmalion.
Okay, I think you kind of lost me.
Jock pretends to be a nerd, but then eventually convinces the nerd that he loves to be a jock.
Oh. See, in my version, they all do like a cool band performance at the end.
No. I mean, yeah, that's better than mine. Yours is better because they're all friends at the end. In mine, nobody likes anything anymore.
Which is very emo.
Right?
So,
well, I guess this is growing up.
I think, yeah, mine is, it's not, okay, what I'm proposing is, it's nothing deep. I was trying to think of some deeper meaning and some great truth that this film could reveal, but I don't think there is anything. It's basically just, it's the same, but it's a cool guy becomes emo for a girl, and he likes music, and she likes music, and they bond over music, and then they play in a band at the end, and it's like...
Is he just a skater boy? Does she say, see you later, boy?
Oh my god. Avril Lavigne could be in it. Can you imagine? Have I told you before that was the first CD I ever bought was Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne?
Really?
I was so into Avril Lavigne. Yeah, she's fantastic. Still is. Did you know there's a theory about her that she died and has been replaced with a doppelganger? Do you know about that?
Yeah, it's a Paul McCartney thing. It's a classic Paul McCartney thing. Same thing.
I mean, definitely not one of our stronger ones, but I think it works. I'm just completely thrown off my game by Patrick Dempsey, so I don't know if I had much else to kind of offer to make that a more solid pitch, but honestly just want to watch the movie again, and that's all I have to say about it. Let's rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 5 chocolate milkshakes extra thick. How many chocolate milkshakes would you rate the movie Can't Buy Me Love?
I don't know, 3.5. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I liked it. What about you?
5.
That is insane. And I love it so much.
Every now and again,
yeah, dude,
a film comes along and it makes me feel happy.
Yeah, man.
And that's rare for me. Because I'm still living that emo life. 2K22.
You are still a skater boy. You'll say see you later, boy. That's great. Man, it's great. It's great. What I love about this podcast is bringing you film after film after film after film that I've watched so many times, and every time you're like, never heard of it, never seen it before, hated it, it was okay, and every so often you're like, never heard of it, loved it. This is a fun.
Didn't I give Mannequin a 5?
You gave.
I'm pretty sure I gave Mannequin a 5.
You've given,
and I gave Scream a 5, which deserves it. I just like to be unpredictable.
I love that.
And hey, you want to know something else fun?
Yes, always.
We only have a few more movies left of the 80s.
Oh my
and
God.
then
I'm feeling so
Teenage Emma is coming into the building for a long stint in the noughties.
I feel like a bit like, you know that thing when you're on a roller coaster and it's clicking up the hill and it's like, and they go, any second now you will descend into madness. And I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to be brave, but inside I'm super scared. I'm scared of the naughties. I've not seen these movies. I've never seen High School Musical. I've never seen Grey's and 50 Shades of Werewolf. What's it called?
Okay, we're definitely not doing 50 Shades of Grey. Just to be clear, that's definitely not a teen movie. That's not. That's not happening on the podcast.
Twilight.
But
I was thinking of.
I
Twilight.
will mention it.
I was thinking of Twilight.
50 Shades of Twilight.
I can't wait.
Oh
to talk
boy,
about
yeah.
werewolves and vampires and all that stuff. I don't know. For the first time in almost in what will be over 100 movies, I will be stepping into an uncomfortable area where I don't know what I'm talking about, and that makes me feel interesting. Actually, I'm excited, but I'm scared.
I want to. I don't think that you would have been ready to do this.
No way. Jose.
Season 1.
No way. No way. You can't go from
And
She's All That to High School Musical.
I've paid. You are in serious debt to me. I've paid so heavily into this account.
I realize.
Of trust.
I know.
There's time
I know.
for the Piper to come and
I will
collect.
follow you right into the 2000s, I promise. It's with excitement and joy and terror, but it's fine. I'm coming with you.
It's going to be really good.
Gosh,
it's going to be emotional.
Here we go.
Very emotional. But for now, we're going to give you an emotional wave, listeners. And we're going to smear our black eyeliner and grab our Converse and go and write in our diaries. And the first thing I'm going to write is thanks for listening to this episode of Plot Twisters.
Dear Diary, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you have the time.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, dude.
Dudes, bye.
Not a phase, Mom.
Emo goodbye. Blah, blah, blah. He was a skater boy. She said, see you later, boy. And they did the Pygmalion thing, and they swapped